Ajay Gokul, Senior Resident in the Department of General Surgery, Sree Balaji Medical College and Hospital. I am here to discuss about the acute and chronic inflammatory conditions that we deal in general surgery. First, by definition, soft tissue infections involve the skin, subcutaneous tissue, fascia, and the muscle. These infections are classified as acute or chronic based on the duration and process. These infections are caused by bacteria, fungi, viruses, or parasites. These range from minor abscesses to life-threatening necrotizing infections. Early diagnosis and prompt management is vital in these conditions. First, we'll look into the classification of soft tissue infections. Acute infections are usually cellulitis, abscesses, necrotizing fasciitis, and gangrene, gas gangrene. Chronic infections are caused by actinomycosis, mycetoma, and tuberculosis. Anatomically, the infections can be classified into superficial and deep infections. Based on the microbes, it can be classified into aerobic, anaerobic, mixed, viral, and fungal infections. Based on the severity, it is classified into mild, moderate, and severe. Now we'll look into the pathophysiology and the host response. First, the infection follows a break in the skin or the mucosa. These organisms, once they enter into the break in the skin or mucosa, multiply, releasing toxins and enzymes. This triggers the host's inflammatory response that causes inflammation. That is, the patient presents with erythema, edema, and pain. In case of severe infection, the patient's affected tissue may go for necrosis and sepsis. There is an increased risk in diabetes and immunocompromised and in elderly patients. First, we'll look into the acute soft tissue infections. Rapid onset and severe inflammation occurs in these conditions. The common organisms are Streptococcus pyogenes and Staphylococcus aureus. These infections spread via the facial planes and the lymphatics. Deep infections may sometimes involve the fascia or the muscles, and the delay in intervention can lead to necrosis and systemic toxicity. First, we'll look into cellulitis. Cellulitis is an acute spreading infection of the skin and the subcutaneous tissue. The most common organisms that cause cellulitis are Streptococcus pyogenes and Staphylococcus aureus. The patient presents with features of erythema, warmth, tenderness, and ill-defined margins of the lesions. The complications that the patient may go for is abscess formation, necrotizing fasciitis, and sepsis. The treatment in cases rest, lower limb elevation, and IV antibiotics. Erysipelas. It is a superficial dermal infection involving the lymphatics. Again, the causative organism is Streptococcus pyogenes. The patient's lesion is sharply demarcated with raised margins. It is commonly seen in the face and in the lower limb. The treatment drug of choice is penicillin. Necrotizing fasciitis. It is a rapidly spreading necrosis of the fascia and the subcutaneous tissue. It is usually polymicrobial or caused due to group A streptococcus. The patient presents with severe pain, crepitus, and systemic toxicity. This requires a surgical debridement and broad spectrum antibiotics. The mortality is more than 30% if the treatment is delayed. Then gas gangrene, the causative organism is Clostridium perfringens and Clostridium septicem. It occurs in the devitalized tissue with poor perfusion. The patient presents with crepitus, foul-smelling discharge, and systemic toxicity. The treatment is, first we go for an emergency debridement, then we go for an empirical antibiotic coverage, followed by which the devitalized tissues are vitalized again by a hyperbaric oxygen. The prognosis depends upon the early recognition of gas gangrene. Pyomyositis. It is a purulent infection of the skeletal muscle. The causative organism is again Staphylococcus aureus. It occurs in tropical climates. The patient presents with a painful swelling, which in turn goes for an abscess formation. The treatment is, the abscess requires an emergency drainage and it is treated post-op by IV antibiotics. Now we'll look into the types and features of an abscess. An abscess is a localized pus collection due to pyogenic infections. The sites are axilla, perianal region, scalp, and the breast. It usually presents as a tender, fluctuant swelling. Abscesses are managed by incision and drainage. Chronic abscesses can lead to sinus formation. The causative organism is gram-positive, it is Streptococcus and Staphylococcus. Gram-negative, the common organisms is Pseudomonas, Klebsiella and E. coli. And anaerobes, bacteroids and Clostridia is the causative organism. Fungal, Candida. Viral, it can be due to a herpes simplex virus, a varicella zoster virus or a human papilloma virus. Aerobic and mixed infection often occurs post-traumatic or post-operative. The mixed flora is usually present. Aerobes create anaerobic conditions. It leads to gas formation of foul odor and black necrosis. The patient requires surgical excision followed by broad spectrum antibiotic cover. The drug of choice that is usually given is metronidazole or clindamycin. Delayed closure of the wound after infection control is the treatment of choice. Now we'll look into the transmissible viral infections. Viral infections can affect the skin and soft tissues either directly or by reactivation. Common organisms that cause infections are the herpes simplex virus, the human papilloma virus and the varicella zoster virus. The transmission is usually due to direct contact or through the contact of droplets from a patient or by reactivation of an old disease. It is usually self-limiting but may cause severe disease in case of immunocompromised patients. And some viral infections may mimic bacterial infections. Herpes simplex virus. It is of two types, the HSV1 type which is usually orolabial and the HSV2 type which is genital. The transmission is by direct contact or through the secretions. Recurrent vesicular lesions on erythematous blaze is usually seen. The complication is the patient may present with eczema, herpectum and secondary bacterial infection in these lesions. The treatment of choice is acyclovir and vanciclovir. Varicella zoster virus. The primary infection that varicella zoster virus causes is chickenpox and reactivation may cause herpes zoster. This is known as shingles. The patient presents with a painful dermatomal vesicular rash and may cause post-hepatic neuralgia. The treatment is again antivirals and analgesia. Then human papilloma virus, usually present in the form of warts and genital papillomas. The transmission is through direct contact or through sexual transmission. The low risk groups, they present as skin warts and the high risk groups may also turn oncogenic. The diagnosis is clinical and biopsy if the diagnosis is atypical. The treatment is cryotherapy, CAR-T. Molluscum contagiosum caused by pox virus, common in children and in immunocompromised patients. The transmission is direct contact and through fomites. Umbilicated pearly papules are usually the classical presentation. This condition is usually self-limiting. In some conditions, it may require curettage or cryotherapy if the lesions are persistent. Chronic suppurative infections, these infections are usually fungal. The causative organisms is actinomycosis that causes chronic granulomatous infection and the secretion of sulfur granules. Mycetoma, it is a chronic fungal infection of the skin and the subcutaneous tissue. The progression is slow with the patient presenting with multiple sinuses. It requires a long-term antibiotic and antifungal cover. Surgical excision is done if the infection is very extensive. Tuberculous soft tissue infections. It is secondary to the spread of tuberculosis from the bone, joint or the lymph node. These form cold abscesses and sinuses. There are no signs of acute inflammation. The treatment is standard anti-tubercular therapy followed by excision of the residual sinus. Now, fungal and parasitic infections. The common fungal infections are caused by Candida and aspergillosis. It occurs in post-surgery or in immunocompromised patients. The parasitic infections that are common are filariasis and leishmaniasis. These patients with fungal or parasitic involvement present with chronic induration and discharging cyanosis. The diagnosis is by microscopy and cultures, and the patient is treated with appropriate antifungals and antiparasitic drugs. The complications of these chronic infection is again like any infection, the patient may go for an abscess formation, a sinus formation, a fistula and necrosis of the tissue. The systemic complications that occur in the patient are sepsis, SIRS and multi-organ dysfunctions. Functional, Contractures, scarring, and deformity may occur. Chronic infection may cause amyloidosis. It can also have a physiological and cosmetic impact which affects the physical and the mental health of the patient. The investigation of choice is blood test, that is a complete blood test, a CRP, and a culture to see whether it is a bacterial or a parasitic or a fungal infection. The imaging modality is that we use is an ultrasound, an MRI, and a CT to look for the deep infections. Microbiological cultures are used to identify the organisms so that we can put them on appropriate empirical antibiotics or antifungals. A biopsy is taken for a chronic granulomatous lesions, and a sensitivity testing is done for appropriate antibiotic selection. Now the principles of acute management is first is resuscitation and hemodynamic stabilization, followed by a broad spectrum IV antibiotic coverage and a surgical drainage or a debridement if required, and supportive care, that is by the form of IV fluids, nutrition and pain control, a regular wound dressing followed by repeated bedside debridements and follow up from the patient's side. In chronic infections, long-term antibiotics or antifungals are used. Surgical excision of the necrotic or the fibrotic tissue is done. Reconstruction is done if it is required. That is, a large wound, either it is covered by a skin graft or a flap. And we control the comorbidities. That is, we treat the underlying condition like diabetes and immunosuppression of the patient. Patient education is done to prevent recurrence of the infection. So the key points in today's presentation is early recognition is crucial for favorable outcome. Classify the infection by type and depth. Always look for systemic involvement. Combine medical and surgical approach if needed. Chronic infections need prolonged targeted therapy. With this, we end with today's session. We will once again meet with another interesting topic. Thank you.